Hey there, YouTube. I've got another USPSA update for you. It's been a little bit, and some things are starting to happen. So I thought it'd be a good time for an update. So first, the most recent board meeting, it was November 27th. I think the minutes came out 2 days ago. I'm recording this on Saturday, December 2nd. This is fairly recent. As usual, like the board at large, not the cool guys on the board, but the board at large tries to keep as much information out of the minutes as possible. So usually we're just parsing through this, trying to figure out what's really going on here. But in this case, there's a couple things that are pretty clear. Okay, so first, the recent election, Lynn got reelected as president of USPSA. It's been unclear what's even going to happen with this situation, because at the time he was reelected, he's not eligible to be president of USPSA. He's not a range officer. The word is, Troy says he's untrainable to be a range officer. So, I don't know. It's unclear what is going to happen there. However, in this meeting, it was addressed. So first thing, motion to restore Lynn's level 1 RO status effective December 31, 2023. So that was motioned and passed unanimously. Another motion, to protect the organization from liability, the board hereby passes a policy prohibiting Lynn from working as a range officer in any capacity during his presidency. I mean, it's interesting to me that this is, I think it's specific to Yemen. It's not like, no, the president can't serve as a range officer. It's like, it says specifically Lynn cannot serve as a range officer during his presidency, which is kind of funny, I guess. Maybe there was some sort of a horse trade where it's like, okay, we'll let him be president, but just to appease Troy or whatever, we won't let him be a range officer anymore at matches. I don't know. But it looks like they'll let him be president, or that decision's been made. Now, in my view, the actual decisions are not made during the meeting, really. The agenda is driven behind the scenes. So I don't know what went on behind the scenes where this was all discussed, but I guess this is what has been agreed to. So if you're curious, it looks like Lynn will be allowed to be president of USPSA. Now, is that good or bad? In my view, Yemen is an idiot and kind of a waste of space. This was my opinion before I got elected. This is my opinion after. He's, like I said, I don't believe he's going to be driving any change here. However, they did run him out of office, kick him out of office, and disparage him quite a lot. Said there was sexual misconduct or other weird shit. So maybe Yemen will come back in willing to put foot to ass on some level. In my opinion, that's probably not going to happen, but it might happen. I do believe if there's positive things that are being motioned and put forward by guys that are good, I think Yemen will vote for it, but I just don't think he's going to be driving any of that. So that's one thing. Now, another interesting thing that happened in the meeting, and this one kind of tells you all you need to know. So motion 2, freeze all pay increases, hiring, and bonuses within the organization for a period of 2 years, effective November 1, 2023. Further resolve that during this freeze period, no employee will receive a salary increase, no new position shall be created or filled, and no bonuses shall be distributed. Further resolve, the board of directors shall review the financial situation of the USPSA on a quarterly basis to assess the need for a continuation or modification of this freeze. This freeze does not apply to essential operation expenses required for the ongoing activities of the organization, and to also the president of the board and their designated representative shall communicate this decision to all staff members, stakeholders, and affected parties, along with an explanation of the rationale behind this decision. This motion will remain in effect until November 1, 2025, at which time the board of directors will reassess the financial situation and determine whether it is necessary to continue or modify the freeze. Motioned by one of the guys we like on the board, Area 3 Director Scott Arnberg. You might remember they kicked him off the Finance Committee a little while back. Seconded by another guy we like on the board, A7 Director Frank Rizzi. Okay, in my view, this is a perfectly reasonable step to take because they are bleeding cash. But the votes were exactly what you'd expect. Everyone voted no, except for the guys we like. The Area 3 Director, Scott, and the Area 7 Director, Frank. Now, in future, Yim and Lynn will be on the board and be president. Do I think that he would vote yes on this? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. But Ben Barry, when he takes over Area 6, yeah, he probably would vote yes on this. He's pretty reasonable. But anyway, with the organization's financial condition, this kind of motion makes all the sense in the world. It's maybe it's not the right thing to do, but it's certainly within reason. It's certainly something that they ought to be talking about. I mean, based on what I know, I would vote yes on this in a heartbeat. This would be no issue. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds great. But these guys are not about doing that. Now, why is that? I don't really know. I don't know. Like, they're making weird decisions at this point. If you want some more insight on this, Scott Arnberg, the Area 3 Director, went on the Training Group podcast with Joel. It's over on the Practical Shooting Training Group YouTube channel. It's pretty recent. It should be easy to find. And it's Scott Arnberg just sitting there for 3 hours talking about these sorts of issues. Now, he goes over a lot of stuff. He's very professional. He's very measured. It's a lot. If you don't want to listen to it, I totally understand. But, you know, I'm sure there'll be some more clips that come out of it. I posted a clip of it to my Instagram page today, just because it's just Scott saying, yeah, I think the financial condition for 2023, it's not improved from 2022. He can't point to any meaningful steps the board took. Do I think 2024 is going to be better? Does he think 2024 is going to be better? I don't think so. After that, I guess we'll see. But I don't know. If you want more, go listen to that. It's like I said, it's 3 hours. There was a lot talked about, but if you want some insight on Scott or how he's thinking or what's going on, he did discuss in detail the rest of the board kicking him off the finance committee. So for a guy who's like, he is a financial professional, I've discussed some finance stuff with him. He really seems to know what he's doing. It's very funny that they kicked him off as head of the finance committee. He didn't think it was that funny, but I thought it was a pretty good demonstration of their stupidity. Let's keep going. So things are definitely changing culturally inside of USPSA. I think pretty much anyone can see that now. And I've got a message here I got pretty recently, and I'll read this one. And this is it, because I think this speaks for a lot of people. I went over to a friend's house last night, mostly USPSA friends I hadn't seen in a long time, who all regularly compete. These used to be mostly board of directors supporters who like the status quo. When I asked how they felt now, they all said they love the sport, but F the BOD, and they're happy, and they're happy more and more local clubs are no longer affiliated with USPSA, and that they'd rather be shooting other leagues like PCSL. Yeah. I think there's a sea change. Finally, the normies are catching on. That's what he sent to me. Now I get messages like that pretty frequently, but I think like that is what I'm seeing happen. That is what's being reflected. In Wisconsin, there's 4, 5, 6 clubs that are disaffiliating from USPSA and flipping over to PCSL. I don't know if there'll be more than that, but that's the number I've heard so far. The other place I frequent, Arizona, like there's PCSL's definitely happening there. It's growing everywhere I go. There's people talking about it. Like, you know, in California, people are talking about it in other places. I mean, tons of places. I don't know if PCSL's the answer to USPSA, but in the meantime, it's definitely better to just deny money to the board. I mean, let me put it this way. I think at this point, a lot of people have gotten the idea that the normal board members don't really care about the issues that affect, you know, shooters. Like they're off, they're doing other stuff. Like one pet project they're working on is some historical preservation thing. Like I think a trailer they're going to drive around the country. They're flying around for meetings for this type of shit. A few people. I mean, it's weird. It's kind of crazy, the stuff that they waste a lot of money on. It's very strange. Whereas other issues then just kind of get ignored, sidelined, or whatever. At this point, it's become clear to so many people that the people running USPSA, they really don't know what they're doing. And that's very funny to me to see that. I would say at this point, I mean, we've been at this now as far as like the really aggressive criticism of the board. I've been at it for what, a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. Like this has been taking time, but it's definitely happening. It's definitely working. These guys are leaving the board. Like Ted Murphy, the current president, like he cannot take it. Like that dude wants out. It's great. And that's what has to happen. Like the aggressive emails they get from people, the questions, like the stuff, these issues continually being brought up and talked about, and really these guys being held to account and having to answer for what they're doing, it's destroying them. Like one by one, they are going away. Even one election that the Area 8 director this year, that was an interesting case because I was pretty sure that was going to go to Russell Fortney. That was the board's candidate on the ticket. The guy running against him, not that well known, but seemed to have his heart in the right place. And it was just like now people from that area, like Russell Fortney, the Area 8 director, he refused to go on podcasts to discuss what he was doing. He's like, yeah, I'm too busy volunteering to run matches. I can't do your Wednesday night podcast. Sorry. Like, so he just intentionally did not put his views out there. No live conversations with anyone. And then he gets into office because he's popular and well-liked in person, but doesn't really discuss these issues in public. Like on the internet where anyone can say anything, he's not talking about it. And then people see him, he gets in there, they see how he's voting, and they're like, oh, Jesus. It's like, yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how reasonable or nice or kind you think these guys are in person. A lot of them are very nice in person. I talked to some of these guys. They're nice in person. But when they're on the board, they're going to vote the way they're going to vote. They're going to do what they're going to do. And they're not going to answer questions to you, but they're not going to answer for it. They're just going to do it. Really great example of that is my former area director, Area 5 director, Rick Steele. Like that dude is like, he agrees with you always. Like when he's talking to people one-on-one or on the phone or whatever, he's very nice. He's very agreeable. And it sounds like he's going to do the right thing, and then he goes in there and he votes, and he does what he wants to do or what they tell him to or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like he's in with them. That's the fact, and we'll do everything to lie about it, like to your face. And I think this dynamic has become very, very clear to anyone that cares to pay attention. There's other guys like Frank and Scott. They're just like very straight with what they think. They're just like, yeah, I'm doing this. And if you're like, hey, I don't like that thing you're doing, I want you to do this thing over here, at least they'll talk about it. They'll give you their rationale for what they're doing. They'll stand up for what they're doing, and they'll hear you out on what you want. So out of this, there is better leadership coming into USPSA. It just takes time. And these guys are dug in. They've got all this institutional control, and they're not going to give that up without a fight. But as nasty as it's gotten, it's a fight they're losing. And that's the fact. So it's fun to see it. It's good to see it. And I think 3-4 years' time, people will look back on all of this probably as a positive. I think so anyway. All right, that's all I got today. I'll keep watching it, and I'll let you know what happens.